With the ongoing increase in the number of cases every day, the risk to the lives of COVID warriors has also been increasing. In the period of uncertainty and unpredictability, the staff and the volunteers of Red Cross Society across the country and the world have been on the front lines to save our lives. The Red Cross Society is serving the country shoulder to shoulder with the local and national administration to curb the deadliest COVID 19. It is playing a vital role by providing us timely access to all the necessary items important for survival during the pandemic. I, Himani Arora, of Grade 8 of Jindal Vidya Mandir, Hillside Township Campus, would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to M.A. Shakib Sir, Director, Disaster Management Committee, Indian Red Cross Society, Karnataka. Sir, as in the past, in the days and weeks ahead, while others retreat into social isolation, you all will come together to care for the community. You won't necessarily know what the day will bring, but you know what you will bring to the day. You are the dedication, compassion, and resilience. For many, you will be the calm in a storm of uncertainty. As others fear the worst, you will show them your best. As the number of cases rise, you too will rise to the challenge. We see you. We appreciate you. We thank you. Sir, I would like to convey my gratitude to all the volunteers of Red Cross Society with a small note. Of course, just a thank you note will never match your sacrifices. What does it mean to be a hero? It's not those who live with ease or those who run away and hide. A hero is the person who encounters overwhelming adversity and stands tall under its weight. A person who is tried and tested and often strained to breaking, yet rises stronger. The person who has battled and bled. The person who faces overwhelming odds. And instead of running away, they run toward. A hero says, I will, when others say nothing at all. They volunteer, they sacrifice, they inspire, they care. They are the fierce, they are vulnerable, the strongest, the courageous, the warriors. To all the volunteer heroes of Red Cross Society, we say thank you.
Thank you, Imani. Good morning, sir. I am Kishore Vai of grade 8th. Sir, can I proceed further with the interview?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you may ask this.
Thank you, sir. My first question to you is, sir, I'm quite eager to know that how children like me can volunteer virtually during the situation of pandemic or on any emergency.
It's good that the Red Cross movement or during any disaster, it is what you volunteer yourself. The country needs many hands to help. And the help is not only coming on the field and work. You may help the pandemic, you may help the school, you may help the people around you, you may help your friends. Virtually, you can help also. You can extend your help by talking to your friends or the people in your families who are having fear of the pandemic, who are having the fear of the COVID. So you can tell them, yes, how to be safe, how to be at home, how to be at isolation. So on virtually, you can convince them not to go out, ask your friends not to go out. It's a very spreading, it's a community spreading. So you can convince them to be at home. That's the most important. People being at home, then the pandemic will not extend into the community.
Thank you, sir, for giving a wide range of information. Moving on, sir. Sir, how did Red Cross Society combat the sudden surge of COVID-19 pandemic?
Red Cross Society is working all over the world. It's working across the globe. And in especially we come to India and in particular in Ballari. Red Cross, we have a trained volunteers. They are called social and emergency response volunteers who are supporting the Red Cross and the district administration. They are the trained volunteers. Like they are going into the ICU wards and helping the patients in ICU wards by psychological counseling. They are going to the vaccination centers and helping people and the administration, health authorities in making the people registration, online registration, then making them the assisting at the vaccination centers. We are also assisting at the dead body management, where the people are dying at the hospitals or because of COVID. Our volunteers are going and doing the dead body management. Our doctors are doing a teleconsultation. Like on the phone, they are advising the patients about the medications and other things for the COVID patients. Then we are having the IEC activities. The volunteers are going on the bikes with the public address system, going around the areas and asking them not to come out, be safe, don't be without mask, SMS. That is, sanitize yourself, wear mask, and keep social distancing. Then some of the volunteers are distributing food to the patients at home isolation. There are many COVID patients in home isolation. There are 3, 4, 5, 7 people at home, and they cannot come out to buy vegetables. They have to be at home for a week. So our volunteers are going and giving food to their doorsteps. Then some of our volunteers are providing food to the public, to the needy people in the slums and workers because of the lockdown. They're not having work, so they don't have food also. So our people are going the vehicles, going to the areas and distributing the lunch packets to the families. And some of our volunteers are also providing food to the patients at hospitals and the COVID care centers. So this is how the volunteers, we have a huge band of volunteers, trained volunteers working 24/7, helping the district administration and the COVID patients to combat the pandemic.
Sir, that's really a praiseworthy task you all have undertaken. Thank you, sir. My next question is, what are the procedures to join Red Cross Society?
It's a good question. As a school student, you can join Junior Red Cross, which is up to 12th standard. In the schools, we have the units. I'll ask your principal, madam, to start the unit in your school where you can join. So any student studying in Karnataka will be a member of Junior Red Cross as long as you pass the 12th. So once you clear a 12th and go to the college, go to the degree college, then there we have something called as YRC, Youth Red Cross. So during your degree colleges, you can be the volunteer as a Youth Red Cross. Once you pass out your degree and you're out, then you can join as a life member of the Red Cross. So any of all the districts, we have the offices where you can go and approach and join as a Red Cross member.
Sir, I would love to join Red Cross Society and serve the country. Indeed, I am very grateful to you, sir, for showing the path.
That's very good of you. You can even motivate other students, your friends also, to join, so that in the school you have something called the core group. So the core group will involve in various activities in the school: self-hygiene, a good touch and bad touch, then about the first aid, then how to handle the simple disasters, and how to help others. These are things which you can do in the school level.
Thank you, sir. Moving on further, I would like to ask you that COVID-19 could lead to huge new waves of migration. Would you like to throw some light on this question, sir?
Yeah, we have seen during last COVID wave 1, there was a lot of migrations from Ballari. 16 trains have gone to various states. Each train consisting about 1,200 migrant workers who had come from various states to Ballari. So all of them have gone back. Similarly, 54 buses every day for a week about. So almost about 350 buses have gone to various places. The workers who have come to Ballari have gone back. Ballari being the industrial hub, so people have come from all over India to work here. And now this pandemic has asked them to go back to their natives. Similarly, we have seen many laborers from Sirgupa, Sinnur and North Karnataka belt who had gone to Bangalore for work. All of them have come back during the pandemic one. During the last wave 1, they all have come back because we have served the food every day about 25 buses for over 10 days. So many people from North Karnataka had gone to Bangalore. Now this wave 1, the pandemic, have asked the people to work in your native places. So many people have come back to the places and are working in their hometown. And most of the companies are also have asked work from home for IT companies and all. So now they also have come back to their native places and they are working from home.
There is no respite to the plight of migrant workers. The aid provided by the Red Cross Society is unparalleled. Sir, my next question is, what are the responsibilities to be taken as a COVID-19 warrior?
As a COVID warrior, the first and foremost is to be safe. You have to be safe and you can make the country safe. So you have to first then tell about the people about the SMS, social distancing, mask, using mask and sanitize. And then whatever possible you can do help at home. You can convince people, you can talk to them, or you can help them, or you can help at home, your parents. You can help if you have age grandparents, you can help them. This is at home you can work. But once we have a professional volunteers who are all working on the field, then we take all the safety precautions of the volunteers. We give them the face shield, the triple layer mask, we give N95 mask, we give sanitizer, we give them gloves, we give them PP kits as they are venturing into the field. So their safety is of Red Cross top priority. We have to take care of our volunteers. So we provide all the safety kit and we train them how to be safe. And they go and help the people in distress.
Undoubtedly, to handle this kind of emergency, one must have to be patient, calm, kind-hearted, and passionate. Thank you, sir. Let us move to the next question. Sir, what is the role of International Committee of the Red Cross in contemporary international humanitarian law?
See, in Red Cross at the international level, we have a Geneva Conventions. So most of the countries have signed the Geneva Conventions. We have 4 Geneva Conventions. The first Geneva Convention says any person with a Red Cross symbol or an emblem or a flag going into the war field. So no other country or no person will shoot or fire on them because we are going there to save the soldiers. We are going to pick up the wounded soldiers. We bring them, we do the first aid, irrespective of whichever country they come. Whichever country, whichever caste, whichever creed. In Red Cross, we don't have all those discrimination. We look at as a human. So the Geneva Convention 1, most of the countries have signed that when the Red Cross vehicle is going into the battlefield, nobody will shoot at the vehicle. The Geneva Convention 2 says the prisoners of war are to be treated as a human. They should not be tortured. They should not be inhumanly treated. So they should be given fair accommodation, food, and hygiene facilities. Geneva Convention 3 says people in the ship during the war are to be treated as a human. And Geneva Convention number 4, it says any person in a war or in other border who has been captured by the enemy should be given access to the family members, should be given access to the law, to the advocate or a counsel for them to go for the appeal under the International Court of Justice. Now we have certain examples. During the Kargil War 1, an Indian pilot was captured by Pakistani army. So under Geneva Convention, he was released back to India. Then during recently airstrike, Air Force pilot Abhinandan was also caught by Pakistani soldiers. So under Geneva Convention, he was sent back to India. And there's another person, Indian person, Kulbhushan Yadav, who is under the Pakistan custody as under the trail as a spy. But under Geneva Convention, the Pakistani government has allowed his family members to talk to him, to visit him, and they have given him opportunity to have the advocate, and the court case is in Court of International Justice. So not only in India, across the world, the Red Cross are doing a lot of humanitarian support in various world wars, or it can be during the Iraq-Iran war, Palestine-Israel war, various other places where all the conflicts of international conflicts are going on. There the committee ICRC, International Committee of Red Cross, will venture there and go and help irrespective of whichever the person belongs to, any country, any caste or any. In Red Cross, we look as a one family, as a human.
Thank you, sir, for educating us. Moving on, sir, working on field poses a lot of risk. What are the precautions taken by a volunteer of Red Cross?
As I said earlier, the safety of the volunteers is of top priority, and we have asked only the trained volunteers. It could be the SDRT, that is State Disaster Response Team member, or it could be Social Emergency Response volunteers or the Red Cross volunteers who are being trained by Red Cross. So they have been trained how to be safe, how to handle the hygiene, how to sanitize themselves, how to maintain safe distance, and whatever activity they are into, what are the safety precautions to be considered. And as part of the organization, we have given them the entire safety kit. The people going into the ICUs are given the PP kits, N95 masks. People working at various places are given N95 masks, triple layer masks, face shields, sanitizer, gloves, jacket, visible jackets. So all these things we have given them as a protective gear. They're called the personal protective equipment, PPE. So all these equipments are given to them. And also we have trained them how to be safe in whichever activity they're handling.
Yes, sir. Surely, as volunteers, one must have to be self-confident, careful, courageous, enough to fight COVID-19. We can assist them by maintaining social distancing and wearing masks to break the chain of COVID-19. Sir, people have lots of misconception regarding the management of COVID-19. So, what are the myths and facts of COVID-19? To be very clear, what are the do's and what are the don'ts of one must keep in mind, sir?
See, many people had the misconception that the vaccines are not safe. So many people have not gone for vaccinations. But as in the field, we have seen lots of cases coming to the hospitals and lots of deaths are happening. When we analyze these cases, the deaths are happening is all the people who have not been vaccinated. No doubt there is the COVID attack on the person who has been vaccinated, but the symptoms are very, very, very mild. So they get the COVID in the 4-5 days, they're getting cured and they're out. Whereas the people who have not been vaccinated are being hospitalized. So this clearly says, and many people who are dying are all not vaccinated. A person who has been vaccinated has not died, which means it clearly shows that the persons who have taken vaccination, COVID vaccination, it could be Covishield or COVID vaccine, none of them have died. So one misconception what they were having was not to take the vaccination. So now people are rushing for the vaccinations and the stock is short. That is one. And second thing is people have the conception that you go to the hospital and you are going to die. It is not that. Hospitals, we are giving them the oxygen, we are giving them the medicines, we are giving them the food, we are giving them the treatment. But what many people are doing is, if they have the light fever, symptoms of COVID, cough or temperature or cold, they just take some medicines, they be at home. And because of this, and they turn positive in next 4-5 days, and then the temperature increases, the saturation drops. It's too late now. By this time, they would have spread this COVID to other family members at home. And still they are negligenting, they are being at home having local medicine something, and then the saturation drops below 90. And then it further deteriorates, drop below 70 and 60. And at this time, they rush to the hospital with a breathing problem, they rush for the oxygen cylinders. And by this time, it's too late. The lungs are inflammatory and have gone infected. So the recovery chances are very less, and all these people will lose. So my advice is, the moment you have those slight symptoms of COVID, temperature, rush to the hospital, take the RT-PCR test, take the medicines.
Yes, sir. Though the people are educated, they neglect or sideline the emergency. What is required now is to be self-disciplined. Thank you, sir. Moving on. Sir, it's my personal question that how you balance and cope up with the situation. We would love to know that from you, sir.
It's the patience. You need to have the patience to be on the field or in office. No doubt you are stuffed with a lot of stress because you have to think about your safety. You have to think about the safety of your family members. You have to think about the safety of your fellow volunteers. Then you have to think safety about the society. So first you have to think about the safety and you have to be safe and you have to follow the SMS and then have patience. And what we have done is each volunteer has been assigned with a different task and as a team leader, as a coordinator. And along with that, we have given him a team members. So with a team of volunteers as a team leader, they have given them the SOPs, standard operating procedures, for what activity, what are the SOPs and how they should handle.
It's really an awesome advice to all of us. Definitely, we will follow your words, sir. To conclude this interview, I would love to quote a note. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision tomorrow. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to you, sir, for taking out time of your busy schedule. Have a great day, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to your management and your principal, madam, also.